I want to talk Seattle Mariners baseball in June. Now, typically, if I'm talking about the Mariners, and that almost never happens, but if I am, it's usually about non-baseball things. Either they started serving dead grasshoppers to the 2,000 or 3,000 people at T-Mobile Park, or they're clinching another year in the longest consecutive playoff drought in all of sports professionally. Except today, I've got a legitimate baseball reason to talk about the Mariners. In fact, a few baseball reasons. You might recall way back in April, when they started the season with the best record in baseball. They were 13-2. Do you remember that? Neither do I. But I'll tell you what I do remember. I remember a grip of you emailing and tweeting me, telling me that I was not doing my job because I was not talking about them. A grip of you telling me that I was not doing my job unless I talked about the front-running Seattle Mariners. So I did. Sort of. Not really. All right, I didn't. But I will right now. You see, they weren't good. They were sort of hot, but they weren't good. Because ever since that fluky, non-sustainable 13-2 start, they have gone 12-36. So in just 7 weeks, they went from the fake best team in baseball to the real dead last team in the AL West. And they are really 17 games out of first as we speak. That's not easy to do. They went from 13-2 to 17 games out of first in the first week of June. That's not easy to do. So, do you still want me to talk about your Mariners? Because I'm here for it. Last night, the first place Astros were in town. And in the top of the sixth inning, with runners on the corners and one out, Yuli Gurriel grounded into a textbook inning-ending double play to Mariners shortstop Dylan Moore. Or at least we thought it would be. But instead of rolling up the routine 6-4-3 double play to get back into the dugout, Dylan Moore picked it and instead did this.
Yuli grounds one towards the left side. Moore's going to come home, and the catcher, Narvaez, was not at home plate. That's going to score a run as Bregman crosses the plate. Moore made the throw home, and Narvaez was heading up the line to back up the play at first.
Because with one out, a double play ends the inning. That was a mental breakdown by Dylan Moore. This is a double.
Hey, that's one way to put it. A mental breakdown by Dylan Moore. I hope you're watching on CBS Sports Network because you probably aren't watching Mariners baseball. You have to see that to believe that. That is incredible. That was the Astros TV broadcast with a call. In case you're having any trouble following what just happened, Dylan Moore inexplicably took a perfect ground ball double play ball with one out and inexplicably went home with it, trying to cut down the runner on third, instead of just flipping it to second to start the double play. The problem, of course, was the Mariners catcher took off from the dish to sprint down the line to back up first base because he and everybody else knew it was a double play ball. Everybody at the yard, including the Astros announcers, were expecting a double play. Hey, Dylan, is this not the very first thing that we all learn in Little League Baseball? Like when we're 5. What are you going to do if the ball is hit to you? What are you going to do if the ball is hit to you? Well, if you're Dylan Moore, you are going to come out firing, and go to home plate, where your catcher left like 5 minutes earlier to back up first base. Dude, you do know that the umpire was not wearing a glove and a Mariners gamer, right? Just because he had a face mask on does not mean he's your catcher. He was not going to record the final out for you, or the second out. What, was he going to try and throw to first to get a double play? Dude threw to home plate, and his catcher was nowhere to be found. No. Instead, hilarity ensues, and the Mariners remind everybody why they are the Mariners and still one of the worst MLB franchises ever. The ball bounces off the backstop and the run scores. And I'd even say, hey, Hey, Dylan, maybe you look before you throw, but he did. I'm not exactly sure what he saw. You think the Mariners announcers who live with this sort of thing and who see this sort of thing 162 times a year would be used to it by now? But apparently they're not. In fact, you listen to the hometown announcers, and even they have never seen anything like that before.
Ground ball. Dylan Moore comes home. Nobody home. Wow.
I'm not sure I've seen that before.
Not sure you've seen that before? I guarantee you haven't seen that before. That's the voice of Mike Blowers calling it on Root Sports. Mike Blowers played 11 years in the bigs. He played for Seattle. He's been calling games ever since he played. I guarantee that guy's seen everything before. He played 11 years in the majors. He's never seen that because nobody has. This guy's never seen a shortstop forego a routine double play ball to throw the ball home when nobody's home.
Nobody home.
Nobody home. Clock. The Mariners would go on to lose their 38th game of the season, and that puts them just one back of the Marlins for fourth worst record in all baseball. That's the company the once 13-2 Mariners are now keeping with the freaking Marlins. So let me ask all you Mariner fans one more time who are all up in my mentions 7 weeks back. You still want me to talk about your team? Didn't think so. Guess what? Neither do I. Enjoy your Grasshopper Sandos. Grasshopper Tuesday.
Nobody home.
Nobody home. What are you doing? I mean, like tailor-made, perfect ground ball. Double play ground ball, man. Roll it up. Get your ass back to the dugout. Oh, nobody home.
Nobody home.
Right. You know why nobody's home? Because the catcher did his job and was backing up first.
Wow.
This email. Hey there, Jim. I heard you say you were going to talk Mariners baseball today. And I was just curious as to why. Because they bleeping suck? Because they're a bunch of bumbling, idiot bum asses and can't stop committing errors? Because their starting rotation and bullpen couldn't pitch a tenth, let alone an inning, without puking all over themselves? Or is it maybe because they won 13 of their first 15 and have since gone half of April, all of May, and part of June without winning another 13 games? Well, maybe Adam Hawk hasn't been smoking pesticide-free weed and keeps killing the Magic Mariners pornopillar. Either way, you slice this poop pie, it comes out intolerable. Saying something sucks is not a take, but the Mariners suck. Mike in Ferndale. And Mike's not happy. Listen, you want to know what? I would have ignored that. I literally would have ignored that. I would have ignored what has become of them. I would have ignored what happened last night. I would have ignored it if all you Mariner fans had not come up in here after 15 games and said, hey, Rome, how do you like us now? Why aren't you talking about us now? You've been on us in the past. You're not doing your job, radio man. I would have let it go. I would have done what I've always done, and that is ignore the Mariners. What's there to talk about? You know, if you've got nothing good to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. But you left me no choice. When you went to that you're not doing your job radio man nonsense, it got filed away. Hey, Rome, very clever. Doing a take on a regular season team that started hot, then turned out to be a big letdown right before a preview on Mike in Indy. I see you working, pimp. Dan in Denver, RTN. That's not what I was doing. That's not what that was about. Rome, I'm with you. They weren't good, but they were sort of hot. Signed Lamar Odom. Aaron in Omaha. Warhawk getting a front row seat to Rome's Mariners berating. My man. Crazy Ryan Kane is in. Dear Jim, The Seattle Supersonics will win another title in Seattle before the Mariners win a title. Please cue yakety sax for the ultimate bleep show that is happening with the Mariners. They are an embarrassment to the city, the league, and all of professional sports.
Yuli grounds one towards the left side. Moore's going to come
You like
home,
that,
and the
Kane?
catcher, Narvaez, was not at home plate. That's going to score a run as Bregman crosses
Say about
the plate.
Kane is like Washington through and through, Seattle through and through. He's all about it. And he's here to kill them. Would you give my man Ryan Kane some more yakety sax, Alvy? Dude, they are embarrassing. They're embarrassing, but they always are.
Nobody home.
This year's no different than any other year. Except that I ignore them every other year. And I would have ignored them if you didn't get all up in my mentions after 15 games.
Wow.
Quote, nobody home.
Nobody home.
Dude, I don't even see that crap in travel ball with my 8th grader. 1-800-636-8686. Don't hurt yourself, Hawk. Matt Croft. Hey, Jim. Mariners or Sailors. Sign that coin guy from hour one. As long as the coins are clean.